Good evening. It's 5:30 PM and I'd like to call this special board meeting for the Town of Lochbuie trustees to order. May we have roll call, please?
Mayor Mahoney. Mayor Pro Tem Jeffrey.
Here.
Trustee Cohen.
Here.
Trustee White.
Here.
Trustee Tapey.
Here.
Trustee Westcott. Trustee Bristow. Here.
Thank you. Will you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
For which it stands, nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Jeffrey.
Yes.
Trustee White.
Yes.
Trustee Tapey.
Yes.
Trustee Cohen.
Yes.
Trustee Bristow.
Yes.
Thank you, and the motion carries. Action item A. Public hearing.
I make a motion to open the public hearing for Southwell Annexation Number 2, Resolution Number 2024-06, and continue to February 2024 at 6:30 PM at Town Hall and by Zoom.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to open the public hearing and continue it to February 20th, 2024 at 6:30 PM. It's been seconded. Roll call, please.
Trustee Cohen.
Yes.
Trustee Tapey.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Jeffrey.
Yes.
Trustee Bristow.
Yes.
Trustee White.
Yes.
My microphone is doing weird things. Motion carries. Action item B is also a public hearing regarding Southwell Annexation Number 3, Resolution 2024-7. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to open the public hearing for Southwell Annexation Number 3, Resolution Number 2024-07, and continue to February 2024 at 6:30 PM at Town Hall and by Zoom.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to open this hearing and continue it as well to February 20th, 2024 at 6:30 PM. May we have roll call, please?
Trustee White.
Yes.
Trustee Tapey.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Jeffrey.
Yes.
Trustee Bristow.
Yes.
Trustee Cohen.
Yes.
And the motion carries. Action item C regarding a public hearing and to follow consideration of ordinance 2024-691, annexing certain territory to the town known as the Southwell Annexation Number 1 and approving an agreement. It is now 5:34 PM and I open the public hearing for ordinance 2024-691, annexing certain territory to the town known as Southwell Annexation Number 1 and approving a memorandum of agreement. There is now to be a staff presentation by Chris Kennedy and Maureen Duran.
Before Mr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, members of the board. You have before you this evening, and I do have some slides. I think Heather's pulling those up now. You have before you the annexation or a request to annex certain property referred to as Southwell Annexation Number 1, as you stated previously. This property is about 194 acres. It's located generally at the northeast corner of County Road 4 and I-76. And I'd like to note, sorry. Sorry about that. She's going to advance the slides for me. I'd like to note that this annexation also includes about 4,200 feet of County Road 4 right-of-way. Here, if we can. Well, you can see it includes County Road 4 right-of-way all the way to the eastern edge of the property. So it doesn't include any of the right-of-way that goes down County Road 4 or up 41 or on 45. So just want to make that clear at the outset. So in accordance with state law, the landowner originally submitted their annexation petition back on January 10th, 2024. As you recall, the board found that petition to be in substantial compliance with state requirements at the January 12th, 2024 special meeting, and then set the public hearing as they're required to do by state statute for today, February 12th, 2024. Slide, please. So at this next step in the process, the board's required to make certain findings before annexing the property. So there are numerous state requirements, but here are the 4 sort of big ones in particular that I wanted to highlight at this time.
My apologies for interrupting. I'd like the record to reflect that trustee Westcott is present as of 5:36 PM. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So one of the first findings that the board needs to make is that state law does require that 1/6 of the perimeter of the property being annexed needs to be contiguous with the existing boundaries of the town. And state law does allow for portions of the property to be annexed in a series in order to meet that standard. So that's why you'll see in your packet that this annexation is made up of 3 different parcels, because there's only about 600 feet or 640 feet or so that's actually touching the town. And so state law allows us to annex little pieces at a time until we meet that. Also very important to confirm that more than 50% of the owners or of more than 50% of the property to be annexed have to consent to the annexation. And so this one's relatively easy because there's only one property owner and they signed the petition. State law also specifies that a property cannot be annexed without an election if part of it isn't already in an annexation process with another municipality. And I want to make it clear that that's not the case here with this particular annexation number 1. No other community is trying to annex any of the right-of-way or any of the property in question here associated with annexation number 1. And then finally, I'd like to confirm that this annexation does stay within the 3-mile annexation limit set forth in state statute. So in terms of next steps, state law does require the town to assign zoning districts to the property within 90 days of the effective date of the annexation ordinance. That's 30 days from today for a total of 120 days. So staff will continue to work with the property owner to develop a zoning plan along with an annexation agreement and bring those back to the board for consideration within the required time frame. So, sorry, slide please. And then so to conclude, we do believe that this request appropriately satisfies all the requirements of state statute. All the required notice has been provided in both the newspaper and via direct mail to property owners that are adjacent to the right-of-way that's proposed for annexation tonight. We believe that annexing the property will benefit the town by extending utilities to the other side of I-76 and providing additional opportunities for growth and development of the town. And so for these recommendations, we do recommend approval of this annexation number 1. That I would open it up to Mr. Josh Shipman, who is here on Zoom. He is a representative of the property owner group.
I believe Ms. Jurian is going to speak first.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll just be really brief, Mayor Pro Tem. I just want to make sure that for the record, we all recognize that all the materials that were in the board packet, including the affidavit of publication, are going to be part of the record for this public hearing.
Thank you very much. Mr. Shipman?
We wanted to thank the town staff for all of their diligent work in getting this package assembled for tonight. I can just provide a brief overview of what we Southwell Holdings anticipate at this property. Tonight, you're seeing an annexation of about 190 acres, all north of County Road 4. Southwell is also the owner of an additional 500 acres immediately south and adjacent to the parcel that we're considering tonight. The long-standing plan for this 700-acre assemblage was that there would be a residential build-out in this area. Those plans changed based on Burlington Northern Santa Fe's recent activities. And for anyone on the call or meeting that's not familiar with that work, Burlington Northern is anticipating something in the vicinity of 3,000 acres of industrial development, a portion of it immediately to the north of the Southwell parcel that we've been reviewing tonight. I think in response to Burlington Northern's activities, the current thinking for the build out of this property is that the northern third of the property will likely develop with industrial uses. The middle third of the property, which is about 350 acres, we think will be a combination of industrial and residential uses. And the remaining property to the north of County Road 2, about 150 acres, we still see as residential uses. Happy to answer any additional questions that attendees may have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shipman. I appreciate that. We have several people in the audience tonight. Are any of you wishing to speak here at this public hearing? If so, please raise your hand. We have one hand raised, 2, 3. Okay, we are going to be limiting your comments to 5 minutes each in duration. Please know that we won't directly respond to you, but if there are questions that can be fielded by our staff or by Mr. Shipman, we will definitely address those as they come. Connie, would you like to come on up? You'll want to unmute the microphone. The little red light will turn on, state your name and address for the record, and then you have 5 minutes.
Hi, my name is Connie Worth. I live on Road 4 and 41, right on the corner. I talked to Mr. Kennedy when we received the letter. He said that according to the map, it would be light industrial. Mr. Shipman said it would be industrial. Can I have some clarification what's going up in front of our house?
Chris, you okay if I respond to that, or?
Industrial and light industrial, it does not allow for your typical heavy industrial smokestack type uses. And so I think nowadays we just refer to it as industrial, but it is more akin to a light industrial type.
So you're just talking not factories?
Sorry?
Factories,
No, more like warehouse development.
76.
Like that
Right.
you would already see up and down.
Right.
7th. But I don't want to put words in the mouth of Mr. Shipman either. He may have a better idea of what uses are anticipated there.
Also, we received a letter from Weld County today saying that they're going to be closing from County Road 6 to 4, halfway between 4 and so I didn't know if you guys were aware of that. That might cut into some of your industrial uses. It seems like one hand isn't talking to the other hand with Hudson, Lochbuie, Weld County.
Mr. Shipman, would you like to answer anything more regarding her question on industrial use?
I was just going to say, I think the summary that was offered is fair, and I think we're anticipating industrial storage along that northern third of the property.
Would you like that in your front yard?
I think it depends
I'm
on.
sorry, since that's not directly related to what we are taking action on, we can't answer that question.
I'm sure the answer would be no. We've lived there for 30 years. And I just think you all should be talking.
I can answer the question about Weld County vacating a portion of that road. We are aware of that and have been talking to Weld County.
All right.
That's not an action the town is taking, it's
Well,
that Weld County is taking.
for the Burlington North.
We are aware, yes.
Mhm. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments tonight. Ma'am, please come on up, name and address for the record, please.
Hi, I'm Karen Grillos, 21512 County Road 4. Well, I might jump around a little bit here, but industrial storage was named or, spoken of. Would these be like gigantic warehouses?
It's hard to speculate at this time because we're so early on. We don't have a development plan, but that is certainly something that could occur there.
Well, I heard that BNSF has plans for 3 or 4 warehouses in this area that will be over 500,000 square feet each. And that would be rather noisy, I would think, but is that correct?
We don't know for sure exactly the scale and scope of the BNSF development, but we've heard anything from, I don't know,
Mm-hmm,
50,000 acre area.
mm-hmm.
That, again, that's not anything that's under consideration for tonight. And that
I
Southweld Holdings is not affiliated with BNSF.
I see. Okay then, so speaking of industrial zoning and saying that heavy industrial and light industrial, it's all the same under industrial. But the piece of property at the corner of 45, that would be the southwest corner of 45 and 4, that has a zoning request of I1. So would that be light industrial?
I believe you're referring to the Hudson annexation. That would be another community. You'd have to take that up with them.
So there's no overlap here in what Loch Buie is trying to obtain or zone and what Hudson is?
Not on this particular property, no.
Okay, not on this particular one, okay. Let me see here. Okay, so the northern third would be industrial, and that's the northern third of Road 4, is that right? When you say Mr. Shipman said the northern third would be industrial and the 300 acres would be industrial and residential. So I'm just wondering what type of industrial, and would that be North Road 4?
Heather, can you show that map again or the slides again? The property that we had up on the slides, that's Mr. Shipman's referring to that entire property as the northern third of their holdings.
Okay, and so that goes to Road 45, doesn't it?
It's not.
No, it doesn't?
45 is out to the east. I
Yep.
believe.
Okay. So I'm
I
just
believe the eastern boundary is where
41?
41 would
Okay.
be if it continued all the way to the south and connected with Road 2.
Okay, thank you. Well, I think for now, that might be everything, but let me just look real quick here. Well, in the letter that we received, it says that we have a right to request that our property be annexed. And conversely, do we have the right to ask that our property not be annexed? And what luck would we have if we requested that? I understand there's one owner involved here, so there's no conflict really.
we're not, the town's not proposing to annex any other properties other than those of Southwell Holdings.
Okay. Well, I
So
guess,
the only way you would be involved in an annexation is if you requested it.
okay, thank you. I
Just
think for the moment, that's all that I could think of. Thank you.
I just want to
Thank you
clarify.
very much for your comments. Next speaker, please. Come on up, please state. Yes, please state your name and address for the record, sir.
My name is Joe Bernack and I'm at 20220 Well County Road 4. Just a little bit east and to the south of where your stuff is here. But I was just kind of curious if Lockbuoy annexes this here Road 4, how many pieces of equipment have you guys got for snow removal or anything else? And what kind of shape are you guys in for bridge repair or anything like that in the future?
Sorry, I couldn't see the light. We actually have some equipment on order that was planned last year. We are looking at bringing on some additional staff for some other needs that we have in town that would cross through winter maintenance and be holistically part of our Public Works Department. So we are looking at these obligations and taking steps to prepare for that.
Currently, how many miles of road are you guys trying to take care of
71,
right now before this annexation?
correct.
The parcel to the south of Road 4, the property that you're talking about here in parcel A. Can you indulge what you guys' plans are for that nice dry hole lake you got out there? Weed patch?
I'm sorry, which parcel?
Big, your big dry lake is nothing but a eyesore weed patch.
I believe that's part of Southwell Holdings. I would defer any plans
is.
to that to
It is.
Mr.
Do you have
Shipman.
any plans that you can indulge what's gonna happen there? I mean, how you gonna put a home in the bottom of a dry lake there?
I would have to let Mr. Shipman speak to that.
And I would just,
Curious.
I would just add that we don't have a development plan yet, so we really can't speak about some of these things. I mean, I'm happy to turn it over to Mr. Shipman if he would like to share any information he does have, but you know, we're talking about annexing the property today and not any of the actual development of it just yet.
I understand.
But we don't want to give you bad information and speculate on some of those things.
Do
So
you
I'll
have
just
any
say,
idea the Well County Road closure, is that going to on Road 41, basically north of 6? Or right at the half-mile mark? I mean, you got residents down there, you gotta have access at least half-mile to the north of Road 4.
Unfortunately, I don't have a copy of that map with me, but I believe it's everything south of Road 6 down to where this property starts, but I'm not sure of that, sir. I apologize. Again,
Makes sense.
we don't have anything to do with that vacation.
About all the questions I got right now, I guess.
Thank you for
Thank you.
speaking tonight. Is there anybody else that was wanting to speak? I thought I saw another hand or two. Yes, please come on up. Name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Kimberly Wagner. Sorry, I have a cold. 19369 County Road 4. So I'm kind of surrounded by them. I just bought this property last year. Done a lot of research, talked to Chris. So my bigger questions are, because I don't think you can stop this. I've talked to attorneys. He's followed all the rules, our company. But like on mine, like, are we talking about a 4-lane road, right? That's what I was told. I don't know where he went. I can't see him, but I'm still confused because like your yellow line is going through my property a little bit on this.
Well, I think I just wanted to highlight where the road
Okay.
was and just indicate that the town, if this were approved, the town would be annexing that portion of
Right,
the road.
so I guess I was just confused by what he said about the light industrial and the housing and where the access, like, are they coming off 41 into that area? Are they gonna have a road off of Road 4? I'm putting up fencing for my dogs and stuff, and so I've already moved it. I went 50 feet from the middle of the road just in because you can't stop it, but kind of more like what are they gonna offer to make it, to kind of keep the quality of life? I don't know if they're gonna like barriers or, because I know we can't fight it. They followed all the rules, but it's kind of sad to see this agriculture. That's why I moved out here and I didn't even think of talking to you guys. I talked to Weld County and they knew or didn't tell you anything, but was there a question in there that I said, or am I just stating things? But like, I just want to know how much it's going to affect the road right there. Like, I thought you told me that that was the first step, was widening the road.
Well, again, we don't have a development plan in front of us. We don't have traffic studies or anything like that that would dictate how wide that road needs to be. And it's been a while since I've driven that road. I mean, my guess is, and I think I told you this on the phone, that it will absolutely at some point relatively soon need to be widened. In terms of, the extent of that widening, I don't think we're in a position where we can tell you off the top of our head. And I just, again, don't want to give you bad information.
And so in line with that and the construction for the neighbors that are on 41 and like, are they gonna have to put up trees or like all that dust and stuff? Like, I literally moved out here to get away. I have stage 4 cancer. So I was like, I can't stop progress, but I'm like, can I make my own little bubble or something to keep breathing?
There are provisions in the code for dust mitigation and for, screening and landscaping and berming and all those kind of things. Whenever there's one of these situations where there's a more intense use that's up against a less intense use. And so there's certainly design aspects of a project that, that can be required in that case.
Okay, so as far as like fencing, if it happens to be, because that angled fence, I just put that part up yesterday and I used the existing one, but there's like straw bales and old stuff. Like, are they just gonna come and take out my fence? I don't know. I don't know what their plans are. I feel like I would like to have contact with them because I am surrounded by that and I do want to fence in my property, but.
If Mr. Shipman's still on the line, I would turn it over to him to say anything he would like on this.
Like, as it progresses, it would just be nice to communicate with them about, like, I would like to get that debris off because it's a fire hazard and their property, maybe they can help. I don't know. Get some trees to block the view. All right, that's all I have to say. I'm mumbling.
We'd be happy to
you.
talk to you if there's any way that you could leave contact information with the town staff. I'm happy to reach out.
Okay, yeah, I just hope that we can make it friendly and preserve quality of life out here.
Okay, yeah, we're happy to talk to you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else wishing to speak? You have about 1 minute left.
Well, it occurs to me that this is one owner, a very smart owner. Maybe those of us that don't want this to happen should have been so smart, but so the owner wants to develop his property and so have the taxpayers do it for him. Loch Buie will bring water to him and utilities. And I just think, what a great idea. I'm sorry I didn't think of it, but I really think that's what's going on. And what else is there? There's some sort of monetary interest for the town, of course. There's got to be more development going on and the tax base would be beneficial for the town to annex these properties in. That's what I think. It's too bad that I wasn't as smart as this owner. Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
would just add that developers are required to pay their own way. So all the infrastructure and roads and pavement and pipes and water treatment and all those things, they'd be required to pay for that.
Are there any other people in the audience wishing to speak at this public hearing? Please come up, sir. State your name and address for the record.
Larry Strock, 840 Lone Wolf Circle. You know, it's somewhat confusing to me with the maps that they've shown. It's somewhat confusing to me as to what the development is. And at this time, I can understand why the people in the audience aren't really crazy about an annexation because they really have no idea what's going to happen to any of that. So if it was a little more specific, I'm not trying to shut anybody down or anything, but it's somewhat hard to understand. And that's all I'd like to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Strock. Last call for speaking at the hearing. All right, the time is now 6:00 PM. And after public comment, I now close the public hearing and will ask the board for any discussion that they would like to have take place. Trustee Cohen.
I don't have anything. Thank you.
Trustee Westcott.
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Trustee Bristow.
I don't have anything tonight. Thank you.
Trustee Tapie.
No questions. Thank you.
Trustee White.
Nothing, thank you.
Thank you. And as for me, the one thing that I would like to say is that all the findings that staff set forth in their report were also my findings when I looked through everything. And I just, wondered if anybody had any other comments regarding that as you looked through the materials tonight. Check one more time. All right. Where's the feedback's coming from? I would be very happy to entertain a motion if there is one.
I make a motion to approve ordinance 2024-691, annexing certain territory to the town known as South Weld Annexation Number 1, and approving a memorandum of agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. May I have roll call, please?
Trustee Westcott,
Yes.
trustee White,
Yes.
trustee Cohen,
Yes.
trustee Bristow,
Yes.
trustee Tapie,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Jeffrey.
Yes. And the motion carries. At this time, I would entertain a motion regarding executive session.
I move to go into executive session for the purposes of discussing ongoing litigation related to the annexation with town legal counsel under CRS 24-6-402, parens 4, parens B.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Tapie,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Jeffrey,
Yes.
trustee Cohen,
Yes.
trustee Bristow,
Yes.
trustee White,
Yes.
trustee Westcott.
Yes. And the motion carries. I want to thank you all again for being here tonight for the hearing. Please know as plans move forward, there will be more communication as things develop and progress. It's not something that just happens overnight. And I encourage you to reach out and share your contact information if you have specific questions or are looking for some feedback from tonight. Thank you. We will now clear the room so that we can move into executive session.